Welcome back. We are once again past the dice, and today we'll be slowing down and doing a little bit of a origin story of Colt and slowly developing the actual world itself to create a few different layers, as this campaign is now evolving into an actual campaign. So we're diving a little bit deeper into what makes Eddie tick. So, that being said, let me go ahead and paint the scene. We're actually going to start off in a different place. Let's see here. We are going to be starting off right after the great battle that all of our valiant heroes ended up fighting with everything they had to be able to get to the surface. So, Eddie, after the fall of that giant, collapsing in front of this ginormous castle, you stare up, and for the first time, you being a firekin or fire ganassi, just your flames, now that your adrenaline has dampened, your flames kind of are reacting to the surface air ever so slightly differently. As it burns the oxygen around you, you stare up and you look out into the sky and think to yourself, there's just one. And you're staring out and you see the one star in the sky. People around you are cheering, they're excited, some are mourning, because once again, 25% of humanity lost their lives in this battle. You end up approaching this ginormous castle filled with stone, cobblestone, obsidian. It's as if time itself froze. As you walk past and as the remaining bits of humanity begin to filter into this lonely, ghastly place, you notice that the last moments of every inhabitant that once lived here is encapsulated in stone. It begins to rain. And when this happens, the rain droplets themselves are that of mana. And they begin to, once they hit the ground, illuminate the general area. So you begin seeing as this green rain begins to kind of rain down on the surface in just lightly pitter-pattering everywhere. The only light source at this point in time has been this rain as it clashes against these statues, and the street lined with these magically enchanted lamps that seem to be emitting a kind of bluish glow. But you walk through these crowds of people, and you walk through these statues that are forever stuck and froze. Hawthorne, after the battle relaxes, there's conversation and everything happening. She grabs a hold of you and brings you over to where they buried Colt. You see, as you walk through this, the biggest settlement that you've ever noticed notice. Rothnir was large. However, this place was massive. You walk down these cobblestone steps that lead down into this courtyard that eventually lead to a graveyard. And you notice that there's one grave that is of recent uplifting. You stand now before a marked grave with a small, not small, but a large piece of wood that's sticking out of it with the cloak of Colt hanging from it. And Hawthorne, you notice as she turns to you, has his hat in her hands. She walks on over and touches the makeshift gravestone, this wooden plaque, and is silent. But she looks at you with a mixture of happiness and sadness. What do you do?
Eddie kneels down to the grave and he picks up some of the dirt and rubs it between his fingers. And as he rises again, he's silent.
Hawthorne, with his hat in hand, brings it over to you and holds it out. And she smiles and looks down at the grave and says aloud to you, "If we made it up top, I promised myself I would give you this." She holds out the drake leather hat that Colt used to adorn.
Eddie hesitantly reaches his hand out and he grabs the top of the hat and he flips it over and he just stares into it for a bit before taking a deep breath and donning the hat.
When this happens, you can't help but think back. Rewinding. You think back to the time that when this particular man changed your life. He was always there. He was always present throughout your life. But there was a moment that, a turning point, one could say. This moment, a lot of the youngsters often referred to as a coming of age. You're in right now Colt's study. You know this day is today. You're surrounded by not very much. Colt was a simple person. There's a little workbench that seems to have like schematics of different ideas, things that he was planning. But there's something that always caught your eye, always made you want to not be like him, but be an equal to him. At this point in time, Colt adorned 2 revolvers, and these were relics that he has carried with him for the millennia that he's been around. But there's one he rarely used. A white ivory revolver. You've played around with it from time to time, sometimes when he wasn't around. But you have a moment to yourself as you are in his room with his belongings. Unguarded. You know at some point in time that he's going to show up, but what do you do at this time?
Eddie looks over his shoulders a couple of times. He kind of looks at the door and he stares at it for a bit. And he reaches his hand out for Susanna. Or, at this point, the white revolver. And he picks it up. Feeling the weight in his hands, flicking the cylinder in and out. And he's just watching each individual thing click in and out and together. And he pulls the hammer back and lets it fire forward as it's unloaded. And as he opens it, all he does as he goes and does all this is he notices that the cylinder is just a little out of place. And so he takes a tool off of Colt's workbench and he tightens it, and that's really it. He tunes a weapon.
Okay. Go ahead and roll a finesse roll for me.
19 with fear.
19 with fear. I'll take the fear. However, as you're staring down this barrel and saw where there was just a slight curve to the left-hand side, tightening it, moving it, slightly bending it, and going ahead to stare right back down the barrel with one eye open, and you're like, yeah, that looks right. That looks right. You flip it around and feel pretty confident about what you've done. I will say that your first shot with this weapon will have an advantage. At this point in time, you do hear the door rustle, and the door opens up, creaks open, and standing before you is Colt. He is adorned with the cowboy hat you've always looked at, the drake leather duster, and he looks at you with copperish rusted skin and gives a chuckle. You just can't keep your hands off that now, can you?
What can I say? It's a beautiful little thing you got here.
It is. Well, I think today we get rid of that little crossbow of yours and let's get you into something.
Oh?
You and I, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go on your first delve, Eddie, together.
Oh. Work.
It's not so much work. We're gonna be in and out of this place, But you're getting to be that age to start pulling your weight.
Yeah, but I'm pretty light, you know. I don't think it's that much of a burden to not do anything. Just saying.
Yes and no. You know the rules. Everybody's got to carry their own weight, even if it's lightweight.
Hard ass.
Your lightweightness makes up for my heaviness. Together we make a normal person. He walks past you, and he walks on over, and there's a little bit of a drawer, and he pulls out this kind of leather sack and peers in it for a sec and seals it up and puts it onto his waistband. He grabs a hold of a cartridge on the right hand side, or a carton. He issues you to sit down over on one of the chairs in the corner. Well, here. Now, you shot this occasionally. However, I've never had you actually reload. So, takes out, in between each one of his fingers, a bullet. Only 5. And hands you 5 bullets. Now, I want you to see if you can quick reload. Try and put these in as quickly as possible. Because where we're going, if you can't reload on the fly, you're going to end up having to do it when we're actually able to take a rest. I need you to go ahead and roll a finesse roll.
Rolls a 3. With fear.
Oh god.
You held a bullet for too long and it fires on its own due to your heat. 20 with hope.
20 with hope. Take the hope. Swiftly, as if it was just you being natural at this, or you've seen him do it so many times. Get your 5 bullets in. Now, continue to practice like that. You'll be able to reload in combat. It's a little different here compared to when you have something breathing down your neck, getting ready to strike. But this was a damn good start. You can see that there's a proud kind of feeling about Colt. Just because he can't show emotion in any way, shape, or form on his face. But you know Colt. You know when he's mad, sad, contemplative. And right now, you feel your heat burning just a little bit brighter. Because not only is he proud of you, you're proud of yourself. I will say that that is 1 of 6. This will carry on to the main campaign. Training exercises to be able to reload a special bullet.
Okay. You've been looking at my character sheet. Have you been looking at my character
I have not.
sheet? Okay.
I have not. You carry it with you.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I don't know, I don't have a divider here.
I mean, that'd be really difficult, honestly, for me. But no. But that's interesting, nonetheless. All right. Let's go, kid. He grabs a hold of everything that he needs and keep that on you. Here. And he gives you a kind of like a leather belt that has a holster on it, just for this white revolver. Now, eventually, you see him like spinning around this black revolver, flipping it up and down, and then he has this kind of he flips it from one to the other, left and right. Eventually, when you use two of these things, it can get you into something that's more of a holster around your chest. Be easier to pull out instead of at your waist up here at your chest. But for now, I think one will do. I'll make you one. Might have to use some of my... And he holds out, and you can kind of see he's kind of torn a little bit of the leather duster on the very bottom. Make you something out of this so you can carry it. Carry two. Because those flames, they're going to burn anything else.
Yeah, it's a wonder that I was able to get pants.
You can thank Tanny for that. I don't know where he pulled those out of, but I told him he should have gave you assless ones. Would have been funny. Well, kidding aside, we have three options that we can go take. And he leads you down, and you head up towards where like the main gathering hall is. So past the scholarly towers that are on the left-hand side, and breaking on over to kind of where David resides. And inside, actually, David is there waiting. And he greets you, this small, I shouldn't say small, short, brawny dwarf with one eye looks on over at the two of you. Oh, is it at that time now?
Unfortunately.
Ready to pop that cherry. The flaming cherry. Had that. So, we got plenty to do. However, for your first delve, I've selected 3 that you can choose from. You can either go, and this is going to be exploring with not only Colt, however, you're going to have Zephyr with you, just in case for tracking purposes.
Joyous.
Now, it's fine, Colt. It's fine. Do you remember what I said about groups?
Yeah, but Zephyr's more of a hard ass than you are.
He can be. But you want to have the hardest of asses next to you in the toughest of situations. Now, this isn't going to be tough, knock on wood. However, we run in groups. Delvers always run in groups. If you're by yourself, out here, you're as good as dead. So, go ahead, David. So, we have the 3 options. You can either dip into the Tiliar ruins, dark elf ruins that have been long since abandoned. There, we do believe that there might be something of arcane nature. We've sent a few groups out. It's relatively safe for the most part. There is the Zambog's temple that has collapsed to the west of here. There, we believe that there is some sort of relic of a weapon of some sort. Lastly, there is the underground ruins of And you see that he kind of looks a little hesitant. Of Balthier. They apparently are held to something that could be dangerous to us. It's very close by. But we haven't really been able to discover that area. So, lad, which of the three would you like to do?
Creepy dark elf place, cool weapon, or third option. I don't know, I think I'm gonna have to flip a cool weapon.
Colt chuckles. Yeah, I figured you'd do that. Alright, so we'll go to the Zambog's temple. Where was it? West of here. Now, you'll need to go on horseback. It's quite the jaunt. Probably the furthest away from here. But it'll be in the base of the mountain. My only recommendation is that you don't go too far up. It's another way to the surface, and the closer you get to that, the more horrors there are. Alright. How's it sound, Giddy?
Let's get it done.
Sounds good.
I got ladies waiting for me when we get back.
Shit. Don't I know it? God, that little tarot is all over you. She'll be doing hers, I think, probably a few months from now when she's of age. Alright. Ladies aside, let's go ahead and get you ready. He leads you back down, and you notice that as you go into the Little Maidens, which is a apothecary, a herbs and medicine place. You see the familiar fun girl, Tanny, there, as she's kind of concocting a few different potions, and you see her mixing a few things, and kind of just this gas begins coming out. She begins coughing and corks it. This is for you, Zephyr. She holds it out, just kind of like wiping out a tear. And you see Zephyr, this taller, black-haired Qatari, kind of grab a hold of it, and he gives a nod and thanks the lady. And he turns to the two of you. Ah. Hey. It's time.
Zephyr. You know what? Rain check. Anybody else available?
No, I'm it. I'm sorry to hear. Tell ya. That being said, you've been practicing your pirouettes?
I've been practicing with pillows and ladettes.
Those are two separate things.
Close enough.
And he looks over at Colt, and Colt kind of gives just a shrug. Well, let's hope it's close enough. He gathers a few, looks like a few vials and potions, and he kind of puts it into a little leather bag that he has on the right hand side, and tightens it. And he walks past the two of you, and he kind of gives just a tap on Colt's shoulder. And go ahead and roll a knowledge roll just to see. Actually, I'm going to say an instinct roll just to see if you can hear what he says.
"21 with fear."
21 no fear. So here, very clearly, Zephyr whisper into Colt's orifice. I think that the boy needs a little bit more time. I don't think he's taking this seriously enough. And he pats the shoulder of Colt and continues off. Which you hear very clearly. Now the fungal in front of you, as she like wipes away these tears from her eyes. Oh dear. Good thing I'm immune. So, today's the day, I heard.
It is.
I got some potions for you, just in case. If you get injured. Now, if you just scrape your knee, don't use it. Use it when you're really hurting. You understand, Eddie?
Can I have a little extra? I won't tell anyone.
Roll a presence check.
Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck no. 8 with hope.
8 with hope. I mean, take the hope. No, dear. You can't kind of smooth talk me like you do all the other little girls. No, this is standard issue for your first delve. No. I can give you 3 potions. We have the option of, you get to choose, a standard potion, a health potion, or lastly, a potion of vitality. One heals ya, one keeps you up at night, and the third will end up increasing your strength or your defense for a brief moment. You get to pick 2.
Well, I've always been a bit of a runner, haven't I? I might as well take stamina.
Alright, there's one. And she holds you a green vial. And it is a normal stamina potion, so it's not a minor.
That's a D6, right?
That is a D6.
Okay.
And what would be the second, dear?
I've got to take vitality.
Vitality it is. She hands you a yellow vial. And what you're able to use is, this acts as 3 armor slots. So if you end up taking, you're able to use it alongside, or you can use it instead of using an armor slot, if that makes sense. And It has 3 charges. A wise choice. No healing, though.
Come on, me get hit? I'm faster than all the rest of those guys. You can't expect me to get hit.
No, faster.
I'm better than them.
You're always saying that you're better. Now, I don't disagree that you ain't fast, Eddie. However, just because when you were little and you talked about being as fast as a comet, it doesn't mean you're really as fast as a comet. Know your limits. It's important.
Worst comes to worst, I'm faster than this hunk of junk.
You know, you ain't wrong. However, I'm tougher than you. Don't forget that.
That's why you're in front of me.
Well, that's one thing that we need to make sure that we're all about. These things, and he flips the revolver up and catches it, puts it back in the holster. It's for keeping us away from danger. All the more
The reason that we have to be accurate, though. Come on. He brings out and he waves the fungal, and you see her give like a quick little bow, and you see the plume on top of her head, the pink plume that's there, kind of rest, and when it does rest down, just a little poof of purple mist kind of spores come out of her head. The door closes behind you. Alright. Zambog's temple. That brings her back. You know, it's funny. A very long time ago, when this place sunk from up top, it's one of the first places that I decided to go take a look at. It used to be a place of worship when there were gods still around.
Eddie kind of punches him in the shoulder and he goes, "There's still one god around."
I don't think your enthusiasm will ever wear me down, Eddie. Well, let's go ahead and get on some of the horses. I know that Zephyr is already getting loaded up. You begin walking through back down to the center of the town. You see to your right hand side the giant pyre that kind of keeps this place alive and safe. And you notice children kind of running around it. You notice up on on one of the poles that are there, you see Hawthorne kind of scribbling away in her journal as she normally would, staring at the fire. And you look up at her, and she seems to be pretty absorbed in what she's doing. But you turn around and start heading west to the west gate. You pass through, and you notice that some girls are giggling and looking over at you, and a little blushing here as you kind of go on out, and you hear, as you pass by, "Good luck, Eddie," kind of echo from behind you. Eventually you get to the west gate. There you see already mounted Zephyr on top of a kind of a chestnut steed. You have the option of either a painted horse, so it kind of has kind of this nice mix of blacks, browns, and white, or it's kind of like a cherry red color. Excuse me, of a horse, kind of like a darker brown with hints of red.
Yeah.
What would you like to go ahead and mount?
Let's go with the darker brown and hints of red.
Okay. You hop on up on top of the horse, and you notice that the leather of the saddle itself is not burning or anything of that nature, and you see Colt struggle, but he does manage to get his metallic body up on top of the painted horse, and he kind of circles the horse around and brings it on over. And this isn't your first time horseback by any means. In fact, it's one of the first things that you start to learn when you were younger. So very proficient with horse riding. But growing up, that Tanny specifically, it's a hobby of his. He loves to handcraft saddles in particular. He's very close with all of the horses. In fact, oftentimes when he's not in his study, he usually is alongside the horses. So the finest materials have always been put into the saddles, into the health of the horses and things of that nature. And you notice that right on where the horn is, you do see a little branded T for Tanny, right where that horn is, right up front. But it's just something that, a little detail about Tiny that you always found comical, because as much as Tiny loves horses, he could never ride one. He's way too big. Not a horse out there can hold it. But he's very passionate about these animals. So you set off. I'll need you to go ahead and roll an instinct roll for me.
Just trying to rack up fear. I know what you're doing.
Or give you hope.
9 with fear.
No, with fear. Okay. So taking a look around as you guys, the three of you, begin to set off. You can feel the hooves underneath you just kind of galloping away, and it just feels, for the first time, you being out of this settlement, away from the sacred flame itself. It's interesting. You, with a 9, I'll say that as you begin to leave, you do feel as if not a gust of wind is pushing you back, but as if the sensation of two magnets that are connected begin to separate, and there's that pull, that initial sensation of like wanting to immediately click right back. And after 3 or 4 minutes, it's odd. It's as if the the polarization switched. It's as if it's pushing you out. Your flames, you've noticed, with a 9. That they always seem to be pointing back where the home is. So you begin to wrap around and turn left, and you notice that the flames are going to the left-hand side. As you turn to the right, the flames begin to go back towards the home. It always seems to be pointing that way as you gallop forward. Let's see if I can get this going. So right now, you do have a moment as you begin to head on out. It's not a full gallop by any means. It's just kind of more or less of a nice little trot. Getting the horses nice and like limber and things of that nature. Just trying to get them ready for a full-on sprint. So you do have a moment as you begin to across the landscape. And surrounding you, as you begin heading west, up the mountain, these cobblestone streets that kind of eventually turn into a dirt path. But clearly there's travel, there's debris that has been moved out, and it seems to be a clear path. You have a moment to yourself with both Colt and Zephyr.
So, this Zambog place, it's got a cool weapon?
So they say. Now we're gonna go to a place that hasn't been completely dipped into. So, the last thing that we heard is that there's supposed to be a weapon of some sort. A relic of the past, if you will.
Oh, like you.
You ain't wrong. Alas, it's moments like this, and I want you to know this, Eddie. When places like this are undiscovered, we're always digging deep when we're delving, right? We're always trying to find something that is new and exciting, and it might help us in some way, shape, or form. That being said, undiscovered is dangerous. We can clear out so many rooms, so many homes, so many different places. I mean, God. You hear Zephyr speak up. Like that last time that you ended up going into the dwarven houses. You never know when a trap is gonna be present. Yeah, don't remind me. You see Colt, and just because of how in tune you are with him, you can tell that he's reflecting. Then again, we'll be alright. Just don't do that thing like you normally do.
And what would that be?
Being too damn cocky.
Me cocky? It's not cocky if it's true. I'm better than half of these people that come down here.
I'll tell you, you're damn good. But sometimes modesty goes a long way. Between me and you, you can be that way all you want, because I know what you are capable of. Just know everyone's trying to survive. You begin to pick up your tracks, and you notice that as you begin to accelerate that, the last bit of that tension that you had between home and where you are finally dissipates. It's as if your flames were flowing behind you and then all of a sudden kind of become stagnant once again as you begin kicking up your speed. Above you, you notice that as you progress up, you start to see like empty trees. There's no like leaves or anything on them. You notice that just crows begin to kind of take off as you begin to curve up the mountain, begin to this zigzag formation leading up. Till eventually, you notice that you come up to a very broken temple. You enter into the side of the front gate of what looks to be like a fallen settlement. At some point in time, you see like broken wood that seems to used to protect this place. Just like wood, like not spires, but essentially just large logs that align the outside of this building. You can tell on top of the actual hill itself that there is a very broken temple. And above, as you begin to jaunt your horse onto the inside and you take a look up, you can see just barely a chasm above you. And you notice the trickling snow, ash, you're not entirely sure. And I'd say at this point in time, you have been traveling for roughly about 6 hours. Colt turns to you. Alright, Eddie. As you begin to enter in this place, this ruined homestead, you can see some of the homes that are kind of aligned, broken down. You see that there are cracks in the actual earth itself. The small homes, like straw at one point in time, looks like it was probably what covered the top, but is now long since decayed, and just open holes on each of these homes as you begin to trot through this desolate landscape. Now, something that is always needed is rest. We've been traveling for 6 hours. We can push on, depending on how deep this place goes. Or we can find camp here in one of these buildings.
Oh, please, let's take a break. We've been traveling for 6 hours. I thought we would have been there already.
We're kind of in a secluded place in Roughnair, but a safe place. Alright. Colt ends up giving a whistle. And you can see that Zephyr is just a little bit ahead, and he's in this area where there is a pond to the right-hand side. And he's already dismounted, and he already has his hands in the actual dirt itself. And once that whistle kind of kicks off, one of his ears turns over to where Colt and you are, and he gives a nod and grabs the horse. So the last time that I was here, there was a larger inn area. We should probably make way there. There's enough rooms. Straw's gone, obviously, but at least there's some form of frame that we can go ahead and put our bedrolls out. Follow me. And you dismount off your horse and kind of begin making your way over to the northeast side of the town. And you're seeing all, as you kind of make your way down, dodging the cracks in the actual ground itself, these different homes that are there, and you can even see just some remnants of skeletal remains of some ancient Dracona that may have lived there. You can definitely tell the actual tail itself and the dragon skull that is there. But eventually you make your way to a just kind of down this prairie way, and there's an inn with wooden actual roof itself, so it seems to be actually covered. You can see part of the building is slightly shifted, as there might have been an earthquake at some point in time, or when it actually collapsed from the actual top side, that the floor is uneven. You can see a shift in the actual building itself. But you make your way inside, and you're greeted with these large, wooden doors that kind of seem to swing open as you push through and make your way inside. You're greeted with an odd smell at first. And you take a look around and you see a few skeletal remains kind of shoved in corners, and a long bar stool, tabletop that's there. Zephyr kind of looks up and looks around, and he smiles. Colt, does it bring back memories at all? And you see the man that you admire take a few steps forward and puts his hand on the bar, the actual table itself, and almost instinctually throws up 2 fingers, just taps down on that actual stool itself, or the table itself, and you hear him chuckle. Yeah, it does. Well, young prince needs his sleep. I think that we should do the same. He looks over at you. Eddie, upstairs. Make sure to bring your bedroll out. I know it's not going to be as comfortable as what you're used to, but try and get some rest tonight.
Sure thing. I'm waiting for this all day.
Now, I want you to get some rest. However, I think it's important that you also take one of the night shifts. I'll be up watching with you. We'll have Zephyr get his cat nap in. But for now, me and Zephyr will get first watch and you go ahead and rest up.
Don't have to tell me twice.
So, normally, obviously, you'd be able to heal up, reduce stress, and etc. But because you haven't taken any form of damage at all, you are still able to work on a project.
Eddie kind of stares at Susanna, which is slowly a name that starts ringing in his head, but not one that he recognizes the revolver for just yet. And he flicks the cylinder out, sees all 5 of the cartridges in it, and sees the empty slot. He shakes his head for a bit, empties it real quick, and starts loading. He starts trying to get faster and faster. And there are a lot of times where he slips and the bullet just slides right off to the side and out of his hand. And a handful of times he drops the gun. And he's just sitting there trying to figure out the reloading trick that he's seen Roland do a million times.
Go ahead and roll a finesse roll for me to see if you're able to mark off one of those.
Oh, you gotta love it. 21.
21. Nice. Hope
With
here.
hope.
With hope. Take the hope. So, once again, you think back to the time that you've seen Roland do it so many times, and you think to yourself, man, Roland's got this down pat. If I could be just as good as Colt, and you think to yourself, and as you kind of stumble a few times, but eventually you get it. So go ahead and mark off one of those out of the 6. So, is there anything that you would like to do before you take night's watch? After that.
Eddie, after having gotten it successfully a few times, he holsters the weapon and he throws his bedroll out, lays down, and with both hands behind his head, he just lays there looking up at the ceiling. This is the real deal, huh? And starts to doze off.
With it being the real deal, the first time that Eddie has been away from home, other than that one moment that you woke up as a small boy outside of town. You don't exactly recall when, where, but your earliest memory was waking up from a crater, looking out in a barren wasteland. What do you remember feeling during that time? Your first memories. Explain that to me.
As a young Eddie arises from the crater, he's left with confusion and fear. As he looks around, everything is foreign to him, including his own hands and his own feet. He's unaware of what it is that he is, and where he is, and what is and being is. And he stumbles around for a bit, confused.
You remember feeling that sense of, I wouldn't say loss was the word. Because you have to know what it was to know what loss was. You stumbled around in what could only be explained as an existence of void. Around you, as you take your first steps from what you can recall, you begin to walk through this body of water. And you look down and you notice the water itself is reflecting thousands of stars. You look up and you notice that you're in some kind of cave. You begin trudging through this almost swamp-like texture underneath the toes, in between the toes of your feet, that squish, that goop feeling between each toe as you begin to walk through, and you look down at yourself for the first time and you see this shine amongst your naked body as you look down at yourself and you look at this many stars that kind of echo in this water lake that you found yourself in, right from the crater that you emerged from. And you reach down and you touch the water and you see it ripple. And you see the stars twinkle underneath you. And you feel for the first time in your face the sensation of metal shine, the sensation of heavy. And you look up and you see Roland, Colt. And you see him begin to run towards you, kind of sliding down the side of a cliffside and running. And you wake up for the morning, or for your session is now for be able to take over the watch. You see once again, as if once Roland Colt goes ahead and grabs you in the dream, you wake up with him standing above you. Come on, sleepy. Get on up.
Oh, hello, beautiful.
You're my turn. You see Zephyr kind of give a little bit of a grunt and props himself in a corner. Sure you got this all night, Colt? Yeah, I don't need sleep like you do. Come on. Let's go, Eddie. You hear the weight of each step that he has as he begins to walk down the stairs to the bar area. And you notice that with each step that he takes as he progresses downstairs, that it's almost as if you notice yourself stepping with the same foot that he steps in. So left, right, left, right. Ooh, intermission. Top it off. Partake.
I bought this mead.
Yes, let's
You
change
cannot say no to mead. It's impossible. It's against my being.
So Colt slides over to you a glass of mead. No, that one's mine.
Oh,
Thanks, Lazar.
yeah.
Thank you. We have a watcher. If that's okay.
Absolutely.
He slides over you a glass of mead, and you notice that it is a golden color. And you can tell that he's just kind of chuckling to himself. Tell me what it tastes like.
Tastes old, Roland.
Well, they don't make it like they used to, I can tell you that much. However, so Night's Watch is your first Night's Watch. We're pretty good held up inside here, but why don't you go ahead and we'll head outside and take a look, kind of observe the area. So I need you to go ahead and roll a knowledge roll for me as you two kind of walk towards and open up the two saloon doors and take a look at this desolate sky that's in the air. What'd you get?
9 with hope.
9 with hope. Take the hope. What do you see, Eddie, as you step outside and breathe in this air that is not close to the sacred flame at all? And what do you see?
Eddie looks around and he sees a fractured town, a piece of land shifted out of place. The souls of the lost, or rather, the bodies of the lost, laying there. The further out he looks, he sees some movement, and it unnerves him a little.
Colt walks on over to you. It can be haunting sometimes. Towns like this. When you look out, you begin to see, and it startles you at first, but you see these translucent spirits begin to wander out of each of the homes. You can easily tell, I think every ancestry that you see is a Dracona, moving throughout aimlessly. They're not going to hurt you. I just know that at a certain hour, the dead that haven't been taken by the crawling king, their spirits are preserved. They tend to wander.
So for my first ever delve, you bring me out to a literal ghost town.
I'll say that you chose it. You begin to see rain beginning to pitter patter. The sound of it just kind of dripping off of the balcony from above you. Notice a little tss, tss, tss on your flame-kitten skin. No, this is definitely chose interesting. Like I said, this was one of the first places I went to. I knew someone that once upon a time that lived here topside. I went and visited his grave while I was on watch. Good friend of mine. But because this place is protected, still somehow, some way, it's hollowed ground. Crawling King can't seem to penetrate it and take these souls. You notice over on the right hand side the depiction of what looks like 6 or 7 Dracona practicing like a shield wall, like stacking themselves up to kind of protect themselves. You examining as they are practicing on what looks like it used to be like striking dummies, but now is only just sticks that have broken and fallen. And over on the left-hand side, you take a look and notice as if, not to say like time had stopped, but it's as if these spirits don't really truly notice that they've died. Like there's commotion that's happening in the town square. And for a moment you can almost imagine what this place could have been, or was at some point in time. So before we get deep into this, do you have any questions?
Yeah, is it always this wet, this far out?
Yeah, farther away that you get from the sacred flame, there tends to be more liquid. Trust me. And he moves his arm here.
Is it too late to go home, where it's dry?
It is too late, sadly. But this is part of you growing up. Part of you understanding that this is what we do. Now you could be one of them courier pussies if you wanted to. However, you wanted to delve.
I guess adventure awaits for the wicked, huh?
That's why I don't sleep.
Yeah, I shouldn't have come with you. It might have been a calm adventure.
I could have went with someone else if you wanted to. But
Oh, no. Trust me, out of all those people you could have picked from, I think I'm doing alright for myself.
that's how I look at it.
Not even Tara can match my speed.
She's slow. But that's just because she's not meant to be the type of fighter that you are. She deals with all that magical stuff.
Magic.
Exactly. Now you see over there, I'm going to throw a rock. When I throw a rock, I'm aiming at that tree, and you can notice it off into the distance. This kind of like very, for a lack of a better term, a skeletal looking tree with several crows onto the outside of it. I'm going to throw this rock at it. I want you to fire 4 of your shots. See if you hit. This is good practice. Alright. You right, son?
I know why my last roll was ass. I rolled D8s instead of D12s.
Ooh, bad form. He goes ahead and gets ready. I need you to roll 3 times.
What's the roll?
It'll be your firing.
So finesse.
Yep. This will use up your bullets, but you'll be able to reload afterwards. What's the first one?
First one's 24 with it. Second one is 19 with fear.
Ooh, 19 with fear. Okay. Hits. Last one.
And a crit.
Crit. Oh, that's 3. One more. Definitely hits that last one.
Uh, 23 with
23.
fear.
Hits. Alright. So he chucks this rock, and it hits dead accuracy on like right below some crows. When that they flutter on up as they get ready, and you quickly take out your gun. You hit all 4, and they drop down. Nicely done. Moving target. Good to see. Something that we haven't been able to practice on the inside of Rothmere. I was curious if you'd be able to hit it or not.
It's just a stationary target with a little bit of variable and some distance and wait. That sounds like some nerdy shit right there. Skill?
Correct. Because of the success, you are now capped on hope, which I think you were close to, if not on the dot.
On the dot. I have a scar. Can I ignore that?
Technically, you can in this one, yes.
And I will mark underneath the scar.
He chuckles to himself, and there we are. Well, it's just about that time. After an hour or so has passed by. Do you have anything that you would like to speak with Colt before he goes to go ahead and wake up Zephyr?
So, been meaning to ask you this for a while.
Yeah.
When you decide to outlive me, will you replace me with another?
Decide to outlive you. Maybe that's never been a decision of mine. That's kind of been forced on me in some way, shape, or form. No, I don't think I could replace you, and nor do I think that I'll outlive you.
I don't know, you've been around for a long time.
Son, I've been dodging death for too long. It's as if I'm married to the son of a bitch. We get close, and we touch, and then they let me go again. One day I'm gonna hold on to death. He's gonna come for me.
Hogwash.
We'll see. No. I knew when I found you that you were something special. Remember, just like it was yesterday. Of all places, I decided to go ahead and dip into the void realm. Saw you wandering after hearing a crash. Swear to you, it felt to me like your last bit of hope that I had. I didn't feel anything, and don't twist this. But seeing you there now on your first delve, a man can get sentimental. But I remember that scared boy in the void of all places. Do you remember that time?
Yeah, I think I do. I descended from the heavens, and they said, "Your champion awaits," or something like that. And here I am.
Here you are. found you right basically at hell. I think their aim was a little bit off. Maybe it was so that I could see you. Bring you home. I want to share something very personal with you, Eddie. I never wanted a son.
Not that you could have one.
Not that I know of. But I'm sure glad as hell that I found you, and I don't know, I'm getting sentimental. I'm glad to see you grown up, boy. That's all.
I'm glad that I can finally say I've got bigger balls than you.
Tink, 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 as he hammers an area right down below his legs. And you always will. Bastard. Alright, let me get Zephyr and let's head on inside. He turns to you, and you can tell that as he, walks on over and opens up the doors, there's a slight hesitance as he puts his hand on the door itself. And he proceeds forward. But you notice just a sense of hesitancy as he makes his way up the stairs. Moments go by, and you see Zephyr kind of head on down with Colt. Reopening up the doors, and you see Zephyr kind of adjust himself and pops up a vial. Takes a drink. Alright. So, weapon it out. You see as he adjusts himself, and you notice that the some of the veins in his neck are kind of pulsating a deep green. And Colt gives a nod. This being said, Eddie, you're going to take point. You're going to be leading, and we'll be examining. Zephyr here will document how you do. If you pass, you can start delving. Alright?
I suppose work and play can't be one thing, can they?
You hear Zephyr. They're always one thing.
Oh, so you do know what fun is.
Only when I've had enough to drink. As he takes a huge swig of some kind of unknown bottle that he chugs. Kind of washed down whatever potion he had drunken previously. The same potion that you noticed that the fungrel had given him. And he tosses it. Shatters. And you notice that as you begin to walk through the streets and pass by, the spirits are still very apparent. What do you see in your mind's eye as you walk past these ethereal entities?
As we're walking past, there's off to Eddie's left, there's a couple doing sword training, and they're fencing back and forth, and one of them decides to spit fire, and the other one backs up and he starts pointing and yelling. On Eddie's right, there are a few gathered around, throwing some dice on the ground, and one of them throws his hands up and he pulls some coin in as they turn to look at the other group. And that he wonders if things were so different back then.
Absolutely. Eventually you make it towards this kind of where the temple is on top of the hill. And you notice, even though you don't know this language that is written on top, your instincts tell you immediately just Zambog. Looking at this giant temple. You notice that the temple is slightly collapsed in, shifting almost like a leaning tower to the left-hand side. Some of the pillars no longer there. The doors long since broken down. But as you enter, you see stained glass depicting of this giant black.
He goes and he fires at the bear, and I guess I don't have to spend this until it's successful. That's
Cut out again. I don't know when, but
Really?
shit.
that's okay. I hit record again.
That's
I'll describe
a
it.
14, 15, 16, 17 with hope.
Definitely hits.
And as he does, I'm going to expend a hope, so I'm not even going to mark anything, to explode out in flame using Whirlwind.
Right on.
Hitting both targets for 8 plus 4, 12. And both targets for 12.
So you go ahead and begin this whirlwind and shoot out this blaze. When this happens, you kind of ricochet up from the top and you whip around this kind of almost like a flaming dance that is both exciting to see and exciting to do. And the serpent immediately kind of whips around, and even though it's flailing, the water that it's submerged in does not react as it begins to writhe in flame. It seems to have killed that creature. The bear takes a stance and immediately uses its reaction that it was preparing for. It's going to go ahead and try and pin you. I need you to go ahead and do a strength check.
Well, lucky me. Oh, wait, actually lucky me, is that? Okay, never mind. I'm going to stop being sarcastic. That's an 11 with hope.
11 with hope. You rolled against 11, but with his strength modifier plus 2. So he ends up pinning you. So once you shoot at this beast, this ethereal beast pins you down. And it's weird. It's so heavy, but it's not. It's as if it's not pinning your flesh, but it's pinning your soul down. As we begin to chew at your throat. Causing, let's see, since you are pinned, it will be with advantage. My God. Natural 20 plus 2. That's crazy. That's twice. So he bites at your throat. And once again, you don't feel the teeth dig into your throat. However, something deeper seems to be suffocating you.
For 22?
It was 22 to hit.
Oh.
Because of the natural 20. It was 20, we had advantage because of pinning.
Never mind.
So you take a total of 25 damage
Okay.
as it bites on into you and begins to get a hold of you.
I am.
And you are currently pinned, so whatever you do might give you a disadvantage.
I am running out of eraser.
Oh no.
But, with that being said, now hold on. If I roll with disadvantage and advantage, does it counter itself, or do we both roll?
No, it counters itself.
Okay.
You see as this creature begins to maul you. You notice that you hear immediately the sound of Colt's like footstep take a step forward, and out of the corner of your eye you see Zephyr hold him back with one arm to prevent him from interfering.
Let's see, I did 1 instance of damage to the bear. And it was just enough to be severe. Or not severe, major. Leaving the bear with 3 health? Close enough. I'm just guessing because I literally did just use a bear in my last session.
Yeah, very close.
Athena did throw a bear, well, a cub. She hucked it, and then she tried using like the aether to like soften the fall, and I was like, all right, roll for instinct, and she failed the instinct check, and the bear, she passed the strength check, but the bear hits the wall and it hits the ground. I'm like, oh shit. No. That's not bad, though. Doesn't make sense. Not in a group attack. Oh, okay. None of these give me advantage. So, I'm going to use my hot-headed nature once again, as this bear has got me pinned to the ground and is actively doing unmentionable things to me. That gives me a +2 to my roll, and while I'm at it, I'm not going to do that yet. I've got 9 of those. I'm going to fire a shot into the bear.
Okay.
And to make this make sense, if it succeeds, it's going to be 2 bullets. Only because I don't have a second gun to do that with. 13 plus 15, 18 with fear.
Definitely hits.
I'm going to mark 2 bullets. And I'm going to do a trick shot. The trick shot in this point is firing 2 bullets at once. And I'm going to spend 2 of my trick shot points to armor strip, sending it back to difficulty.
Ah, okay. Right on.
And the damage for this.
Yep, go ahead and roll damage. Definitely hits for sure.
$16.
16. How do you want to do this?
As Eddie lay on the ground and the spectral bear is gnawing at his throat, and he feels his essence kind of seep away from him. He starts heating up even more, and there's a flicker of blue coming off of him as he pulls both of his arms together, and he kind of flicks his 2 fingers to flick the hammer twice, firing 2 bullets directly into the skull of the spectral beast.
You hear them, and when it does, it seems to dissipate, and you notice that almost like fireflies begin to emit from both it as well as the serpent that was in the water, just kind of emit out, twinkling ever so slightly and disappearing into the nether. Colt immediately runs on over to you and helps you up. There we go. God, you had me worried, son. You did good. You did good. How you feeling? He popped his cherry. Of course he's feeling good.
This thing is so fucking cool. My neck hurts.
Yeah. That thing attacks you right at the soul, these creatures. You notice that Zephyr takes out a little notepad and begins kind of inscribing in this small leather-bound journal of his, and closes it up. Yeah, they get you right at the source. It's unnerving, to say the least. But you seem fine. Not even a scratch on you. He hits you like right on the shoulder. Just kind of gives you a little like pat, so to speak, and takes a few steps forward, and Colt nods. Well, shall we?
Yeah, one moment. And Eddie, his hands still shaking from adrenaline, grabs 5 bullets and he flicks the cylinder out and he starts pushing them in.
Okay, absolutely. Adding your 5 bullets back. And taking, technically, during this time, a short rest. So you're able to go ahead and, if you wish to heal, you'll use a D4. Or a D4. D4 or D6. I don't know.
It is a D4. I thought I had one out.
Got one right here.
I do not. Well, no, I mean, like, I thought I had one already out of the cylinder.
Oh.
But I must have put it back from when I did the trick shot roll at the beginning. Voila. 4
HP maximum.
yes. 4 HP.
While this short rest happens, you kind of adjust yourself and reflect back on that moment of where you saw the blue flame as a child. And then you think about, wait a minute, I just turned blue for the first time. And as you're one bullet, next bullet, next bullet, you start thinking about that moment. Was I hot? Was I cold? What did you feel when you went blue?
Eddie, thinking back to it, the heat of the moment getting to him, his temperature rising with each step, each pull of a trigger, each hit that he took, each piece of adrenaline that fired through him, each heartbeat increasing how hot he got.
Think about a time. It flashes a memory once again. You're in this town with these large individuals. And something that you started noticing is that when they looked at you, it's as if in their eyes, much like the water that you first experienced of, their eyes reflected just this starscape as they looked at you. Everyone that was in this village, large, muscular individuals, once again wearing rotten leathers and things of that nature. But you remember looking up at one, and he had this kind of purple to white mohawk, and playing along with him, like pretending fists left and right, and he smiles at you. And you ended up getting frustrated during this fight because he just would kind of just move you around. It's a giant individual, kind of shoving you left and right, doing what he needed, like what he wanted. And eventually you got pushed back and you hit one of the totems that had this blue flame, and embers kind of flickered out and landed on your forehead. And when that happened, you ignited into this blue flame, and you caught yourself and you started panicking because you're on fire, and you grabbed a hold of yourself and you looked around for hope and anything that anyone could do for you as you ignited in this flame. And this individual ran over to you and grabbed a hold of you and kind of just in panic just tried to like pat you out, and you begin screaming, but then you begin to calm down and realize you're not hurting. And you grab a hold of your hands in this blue fire kind of wrapping around you, and you flash back to where you are currently. And you look back at your hand, and it's this orangish red flame, and you holster your gun. You ready, son?
Yeah, adventure awaits.
Let's go down. You begin to go further down, and you notice that as this kind of rocky landscape turns into more ruins, you notice this kind of very distinct structure in the center. And you notice this large tower with skeletal Dracona skulls lined, ever weaving up, until you see this giant, massive dragon head looming down. You notice as you step into the actual this room, you notice that almost as if it leads up to a tower, as this giant dragon skull towering over you amongst all these Dracona skulls holding it up, looking down. When you take a step in and those flames ignite, you notice immediately the left eye light up. And you notice a blue flame emitting and spiraling. You hear, Zephyr hears, Roland, Colt hears, the rumbling. As if the skull is speaking directly to you. What brings you here?
Am I going nuts, or...? Cool weapon!
You notice as it's staring down at you. The second eye flashes. A weapon! You hear a rumble from underneath you.
It doesn't have to be a weapon. A knife is a tool. A hammer hits nails, and I just heard it was cool.
Underneath the giant skull, you begin hearing the whispers of many. Behind you, you immediately hear the sound of a child. You hear whispers wooing all over you, and then for a brief moment, I would say just passively, you notice a little Dracona girl staring at you. And she closes the door behind you.
Oh, okay. Fine, cool.
And you notice that Zephyr and Colt unnervingly have their hands on their weapons.
A weapon.
Begins to rumble, and a deeper, darker tone emits.
You may have, if you are pure of heart.
Oh. Zephyr, you're gonna have to go home.
I would have, but they already closed the door on me.
Shit.
Plus, this isn't my delve. This is yours.
Yeah, but he said pure heart. Roland has no heart, and I suppose your soul is, so it works out.
Hold on, I'm not soulless. Alright?
No, I'm Zephyr's soulless. You just don't have a heart.
Alright, just making sure we're not mixing everybody up. You hear Zephyr chuckle.
Step forward, flamekin.
Okay. And Eddie slowly tiptoes forward.
You're met with the gaze of what looks like 50, 60 Dracona skulls staring at you. You hear from your bottom left foot,
What kind of weapon?
upper right hand skull begins to speak.
Is it something that he deserves?
To the right,
I don't think he deserves it. Is he true of heart? What can we expect of him? What did we get in return? Why can't we take it?
you begin to get this emission, like this feeling of jealousy all of a sudden. This feeling of animosity kind of radiating towards you. And you hear once again,
silence.
And the eyes emit this flame that all of a sudden, all the light dissipates.
I am Tiamat. What weapon do you desire?
And Eddie kind of turns back to Colt and Zephyr and goes, do we actually know what this thing is?
You see Zephyr as the lights have completely been turned out. You see his yellow eyes just staring at you. These cat-like eyes glowing in the darkness. And you see Colt's red eyes, the only emittance of light other than these flames that are coming from this.
Okay. Helpful. And he turns back and he stares and goes, a cool weapon.
You hear,
I shall imbue for you one of my fangs. Use it how you will.
and you notice that on this giant skull that is looming above you, the bottom tooth falls, hitting the ground right in between your legs. And you notice this fang is roughly about 8 inches long, curved. You hear once again,
Use it. Carve with it. Forge it.
I was assuming it was already made. I didn't know there were extra steps.
There is.
Is there an instruction manual or...
you hear the chuckling.
Take that as a no. As Eddie leans forward and picks up the fang.
And if you use this fang, do it in the name of Tiamat as it rumbles with its name.
You now have Tiamat's fang. It can be made into a dagger for close range.
Gotta stop giving me cool shit.
It's the point of me being a DM.
Well, fair enough.
And you notice that when that happens, you see the flicker of the flame. And it states,
You are from the void, aren't you?
echoes.
Aren't you? Aren't you?
So metal ass states, yes. If that's what you call it.
Return home.
And it echoes throughout.
I am but a relic. Meet me in the flesh.
As it whispers into your back of your ear.
If you want to know what true power is.
Oh. Insightful, inviting. I might take you up on that offer. Maybe a little later, a bit of a rain check, perhaps.
Come find me.
And the lights from the skull dissipate. And you're left with an empty room. Except for, of course, Zephyr and Colt in the door behind you. Open up. Colt approaches.
You're just standing at that thing for a while. You alright?
Voices, a Tiamat, Fang. You didn't see any of that. Hear any of that?
No, I heard whispers, but that's about it. I was gonna shake you awake, but Zephyr here instructed me to let you. I don't know. I didn't feel right about it.
And Zephyr just kind of shrugs.
Every moment he needs to learn by himself. You're not always gonna be around to protect him, you know. That's the point of this exercise. I know, Zephyr. That one felt weird to me.
What about Tiamat? What about
Tiamat's long dead.
Well, I would assume, but I got a Fang, and he asked to meet in the void?
In the void?
looks over and he looks at Zephyr.
Seems kind of pervy to me, if you ask me.
No, you need to be far away from that place. But listen, Eddie. Don't go to the void. Don't ever go to the void. It's where I found you. That place is not safe. Do you understand me? Don't ever go.
Eddie kind of just sits there, backs up a bit, and he goes, "Heard loud and clear."
All right.
Yes, sir.
Good. And all this void talk, let's head back. We got what we needed. Let's see if we can outfit that. Feels like it's the... You notice that one of his eyes go from red to green. And you hear clicking sounds in the back of his skull. I think that's what we were looking for.
Okay. It's not as cool as you guys made it out to seem.
Not always is it cool, as you had put it. Who knows what the properties of that thing is, but sometimes it could lead to greater things.
Okay.
But
So you say.
if it's a weapon of some sort, we'll see if we can get it outfitted at the gnome. His name escapes me right now. I feel a little foggy. At this point in time, you also feel a little lightheaded. I need you to go ahead and roll a strength roll for me. Technically a constitution, is that a thing? I don't know.
Yeah. Well,
Does it fall under that?
what's the roll entail?
It would be a strength roll. It'd be a strength roll.
Yeah, because that one's a weird one for me.
It is weird, yeah.
I find strength the least common thing I have rolled for. Oh. 16.
16?
With
Alright.
fear.
With fear? Okay. Take the fear.
It's just a little off from the crit.
So you kind of stumble a little bit and grab a hold of yourself, and a familiar smell erects from all the skulls. The smell of decay, the smell of rot, the smell almost takes you over. And you notice that the lanterns that were lining up begin to emit a blue flame leading up. And it goes from this kind of dark, skeletal, looming dragon skull to all of a sudden these blue, emitting, radiating glow. You gather yourself and you hold yourself tight. And you grip a hold of your white gun. And you see that Colt kind of kneels down to one arm, or one leg, and looks up. And you notice that above, where the skull, this dragon skull is, its mouth opens. And you notice a blue portal opens up in its mouth, emitting a bone-chilling freeze out of it. What are you doing?
Other way we go.
The three of you end up grabbing, you see that Zephyr ends up grabbing a hold of Colt, and you guys begin to push your way back the way that you came. And you hear as it dissipates away. And Colt regains himself and kind of begins to be able to carry himself. And as you're making your way past the waterfall and past where the ruins were and make your way up the stairs, up at the cathedral portion, you have a moment to yourselves as Colt kind of sits down. He flips over one of the many benches that are there and sits down, and you can see that he something had happened to him. He seems to have short-circuited in some way, shape, or form. You notice that Zephyr kind of goes over to him and he takes out a green vial and kind of begins to pour it into the back cavity, and you notice that Colt adjusts and his eyes go from green, blue, red, blue, and then immediately back to how they were. And he kind of seems shooken.
What the fuck was that?
He adjusts himself. Which part? He kind of adjusts.
The blue swirling portal, the faint bone chilling thing, the cold that I was feeling, you know, all the things I hate in life, blue portals included.
Everything blue. I'm not sure, but I think that was one of the many portals to the ethereal realm of the void. Leaving was a good idea. To think that there's one underneath a place like this. Maybe that's how he sunk his teeth in. You notice that he adjusts himself and stands up. Well, something to be celebrated about is that you made it out. You're alive. You got a little trophy to bring along with you. Let's never come back here again.
I agree. I concur. Let's go. Back home.
Back home.
Ladies await. Beer. Ladies.
And more ladies. Zephyr cheers.
He gets it. Let's get you back in your rocking chair, old man.
I could use one of those right now.
So, you end up returning home. Later, I'd say the following morning, you end up going down to the gnome smithy, and he outfits you a Tiamat dagger. It does proficiency D12. I'm sorry, D8 damage plus 4 magical damage. But one of the effects of it, if rolling with fear, a void flame will come around and hit everything around you for 4 magical damage. Friend, foe. As you practice with it, Zephyr kind of takes the close quarters portion of the teaching. And you know that you need to at least be 10 feet away from someone, so only to use it when you are in a corner.
What's the trait?
Trait is finesse.
Finesse. Fuck yeah. And I'm guessing melee?
Melee, yes.
Last question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Secondary or primary?
That is a secondary. Later that day, Colt gives you, officially, the white revolver. He hands it over to you, and it's a prideful moment for the two of you. It's glistening in the firelight of the sacred pyre. there's only, and he explains to you that there's only 2 of these firearms in existence as far as he knows. So make sure to take good care of it.
Well, hello, beautiful. I will be taking care of you.
And you brought back to modern time. And you're standing over Colt's grave with his leather duster flapping in the wind, and you're looking down at the inside of the hat. And you put it on top of your head. It fits just right. And you think to yourself, I guess I am walking in your shoes. And you walk on over. You take the duster off of the pole. And you throw it over your shoulder. And you see Hawthorne smiling at you. I know he wanted you to have it.
Yeah. I know.
Let's see if we can find food in this place. And that ends tonight's session. Ta-da! Once again, we are past the dice. Thanks for this little interlude, a little backstory for Eddie. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know there's a brief break in there that I'll have to find and edit. That being said, we appreciate you listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye!